Hello, my gorgeous darlings. I've got Elliot back, so I'm even happier than normal. And look who else is pleased to see him. Little Boo. She's being a bit of a furry floozy, actually. She does quite like the boys. Anyway, I promised to do this very special video for a gorgeous 8-year-old boy I was speaking with on last Friday, and he has autism, and very sadly mainstream school hasn't worked out for him, which is a terrible shame really, because what a beautiful soul, what a beautiful boy. Anyway, he's got this amazing mum, and she'd been watching my YouTube videos and wanted a private session with me. So the three of us got together on Friday, all remotely. It's amazing. Zoom was always a verb before in my life, and now it's an app. It's amazing. I love it. Perfectly named for me. So Elliot has very kindly volunteered his back, because I promised this little boy, and I can't say his name because he's a child, this lovely video, because it's talking about the power of touch again. And I'm not going to bore you to tears with all the proven research of touch, because I've done that in previous videos, and you can always have a look at those, you know, if you can't get to sleep or something and need to feel absolutely exhausted. So this is for this special little boy, and what I've done is, because I always say every child has a point of access, meaning if they don't like yoga, or they don't like meditation, or they don't like something, there's always a way. There's always a way where I will meet them where they're at. And then I get that gorgeous, gorgeous invitation into their world. And it's just so emotional every single time. I know I sound silly because I've been doing this for 11 years to date, at the time of recording this, but it really does get me every time. So this little boy, his point of access is touch, and he's got this amazing superhero mum who moves the world for him, lovely family, and touch is the way he calms down when he's agitated, and we did lots of special things to help with that. But I promised to put the massage, which he adores, into a story, and I taught his mum how to do this in our Zoom session, just on a friends and family basis. So this is for you, sweetheart. So there was once the most gorgeous boy. Thank you for your back, Elliot. Thank you, Boo, for laminating Elliot while I'm doing this. And every single day he did his very, very best to go to mainstream school. But it didn't always work out, and he wasn't always understood, and this made him feel sad. So his lovely mummy whisked him up, and they made a decision as a family to teach him at home. And what happened then was he found his superpower, because this amazing boy has such a shiny, clever brain. He's actually taught himself how to speak in different languages, all sorts of different languages. And we had great fun speaking about those languages, and he was teaching me, because it always works that way. I always learn from the kids I work with. They're my biggest teachers, and that's the truth. I'm diverting from the story. I'm terrible, aren't I? And we then put it into touch. We put the words into touch. We also put them into yoga. But I don't want to bombard you on one video. I'll do another one on yoga shortly. And this was his superpower, this ability to be able to just pick up learning all by himself. And he was very strongly telling me that he did it all by himself. And that is how he is going to be such a superhero one day, because that is his strength. That is what will get him through everything. This one I'm doing here, it's a bit like that. That helps to release meltdowns from that second brain, that enteric brain, where we hold on to anxiety, fear, distress, even excitement. So I'm doing a little bit here. So there was this boy at home with his mum, in his great big family that just loved him. I know you're loving this, Boo, aren't you? I'm doing a big love heart on Elliot's back, so you can make it up. It's still touch. And what this is doing, the love heart, is pushing the serotonin and dopamine up from that second brain and flooding the first brain as I go up like this. And then I'm pushing off at the at the, just behind the second brain here. I'm pushing that off to release the anxiety. So with the love of his family and the big belief in him and his superpowers, this little boy found that his challenges were being eased and his strengths were growing like a great big flower reaching up to the sun. And one day, when this little boy is a great big boy, he's going to set the world on fire. And there's going to be this tiny little lady all the way down in Somerset cheering him on, way, and sending out fireworks in all directions. How about that? See? Now, you can use Mary Atkinson and her Once Upon a Touch book is a fantastic way to get started with story massage. She also runs courses. But because I've talked so much in my previous videos about the power of touch, the proven neuroscientific, oh my God, I love that word, benefits of touch, you can just literally, if your child loves touch, you can make it up. You might be jumping in puddles. You might be walking through a forest. You could literally draw a tree. If your child loves nature, draw a big tree, because with the trunk you're coming down the back, pushing away that anxiety, dread, unprocessed stuff, anger, meltdown. This is the seat of meltdown. So you're pushing that off with the trunk, and then you're opening up the heart and opening up the diaphragm by doing the lovely tree branches reaching up to the sky. If your child loves being in the sunshine, just draw a sun. You can't do any harm. And what the touch does, especially for kids with autism, ADHD, PDA, it brings that energy down too, makes them feel safe, makes them feel nurtured, and just that in itself, the touch will ease the issues and challenges and help to grow their gifts. And touch, of course, is so magical to me because it crosses all language barriers. It crosses, if you're deaf, you can receive it. If you're blind, you can receive it. It crosses all classes, all cultures, all skin colours. You know, it's absolutely inclusive. You could be in a wheelchair, you could be in a hospital bed. You can get this touch to people. And if they don't like it on their back, you can tell a story on their head, if they like it there, or down their arms, or on their tummies. On their tummies would be a good place, because obviously that's housing a lot of the gut, which is where that second brain is. So you're helping them to ease that meltdown feeling, that awful build-up that leads to just, you know, complete breaking down. You'll help to ease that without the need for them to necessarily talk about it or verbalize it. Touch crosses that too. If you're non-verbal, the touch embraces everybody, which is why I love it. Can you imagine me during lockdown without having touch? I was going mental. Anyway, Elliot, are you happy for me to do a story about you?
I am.
Oh, he's lovely, isn't he? I do bribe him ever so heavily. Right, okay, so what would you describe as your challenges and issues?
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
Yeah, and concentration.
Concentration, that's because of the ADHD.
ADHD, yeah.
Okay, so that's all right. But what would really get your attention? What would really... And that's another thing, touch, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Sorry, I've just remembered something. Touch, with people with dyslexia, touch puts them inside the words. It melts that barrier about words in the same way as storytelling does, or art therapy, or yoga stories. So the touch, putting things into stories, even their favourite song, it doesn't have to be necessarily them talking about their issues and challenges. It could be a story about anything. It could be a TV programme they're really into, or a game they're really into. I've had to look up lots about Mario and Nintendo and all sorts before. I'm an expert now. It's amazing. I put them all into story massage. So what would really get your attention, Elliot? What would really get your focus? In other words, what are your strengths? What are your passions?
Rugby.
Rugby.
Love rugby.
I'm going to give him a bashing now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure whether to say it or not.
I know, because I am a bit, you know, get into it.
Cars.
Cars, okay.
And mindset.
and positive mindset.
Yeah.
And that's got you through a lot, hasn't it?
Yes, it
Your
has.
positive mindset is amazing. Oh, right, I'm buzzing. Ready? We're going to now put this
Go
into
on, I
a
want to hear
story.
my story.
Here's his story. Right. Once upon a time, there was an absolutely wonderful young man called Elliot. And sometimes he felt really challenged by certain things in his life, like dyslexia. Although dyslexic people are often the very, very, very creative people who get the world moving and flowing, and their brains can't keep up. Their hands can't keep up with the flow of the thoughts. They're actually super, super clever and shiny as well. Their brains are huge. Big brain, look. See? You can just put it, just flow with it, enjoy the touch. So then what happened? Okay, he also would sometimes get a little bit, found it difficult to concentrate. His head might have felt a little bit busy because of all the thoughts going on in it. That stopped him from being calm and concentrating. So this magical lady in Somerset said to Elliot one day, I'm drawing a big question mark on his back now, what is your gift? What is your strength? And notice I'm putting my hand behind the second brain because that eases those feelings of tension, dread, all of that, all the horrible meltdown stuff. And what is your passion? And I never call it a fixation because to me that's quite insulting and quite negative. They're not fixations with autism and ADHD, it's their gift. What are you missing out on? Once you tap into that, the world is your oyster. Sorry, Elliot, I'm going a bit crazy. Elliot also really liked rugby, by the way. Loved rugby. Let's draw a big rugby ball on you.
Yeah.
There we go, look, there we go. And cars, because they go really fast. So I'm just doing little circles like this. That gets the dopamine and the serotonin zooming up the cerebral spinal fluid and up the vagus nerve.
Wow.
My favourite. And little Boo sat there very, very calmly, raising one eyebrow, thinking, my mum is mad. And she was right. So Elliot, when he talked about, he knew everything there is to know about cars. He was very, very, very good at fixing them. And he was fantastic at running around and playing rugby. And when his mind was engaged in those passions, he felt full all the way to his tummy and all the way to his gut. And then all the way back up again as well. Because these were his gifts. And just like you, my little sweetheart, up in Essex, there's your wink, which I promised you as well. Once you channel all those gorgeous gifts, I'm going down Elliot's arms as well, you can use much of the body as you want on a friends and family basis. So once Elliot had those gifts channeled, and he could put all that gorgeous energy, because it is gorgeous, from his ADHD into those passions, he was one absolutely amazing young man with the whole world and the whole future to look forward to. And it's as simple as that. And actually, I made a couple up then on the spot. I also used a bit of massage from schools, a little bit of Mary Atkinson's story massage, some of my own massage. So blend it up. And if you're not a trained therapist, it doesn't matter, because so long as you are in touch with meaning that you understand what the touch is doing, bringing them from that busy place in their heads firmly and gently back into their bodies, because the touch really does help Elliot enormously. He's nodding. I've got a little string. I'm pulling his head. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm only joking. I wish I could behave. I just can't behave, can I? It's just impossible. Anyway, if you know the meaning behind the touch, so pushing up the dopamine, motivation, focus, concentration, the thing that Elliot finds a challenge. So when I have a child with ADHD, I will do a lot up the back, because that is pushing the dopamine, which is linked to concentration, focus, productivity, reward. I'm pushing that up the back through the vagus nerve. And I'm also pushing the serotonin up, which is self-esteem, happiness, and confidence. And that's linked with the higher emotional intelligence. Oh my God, aren't our bodies incredible? Anyway, I shall leave you there. Boo has had a very tiring day, as you can see. Absolutely exhausting. And Elliot's ready to go off, drive a car really fast to a rugby match and thrash everyone. So I shall see you soon.